All right, welcome back. Our guest is Emmanuel Kibueze, an award-winning, of course, filmmaker, actor, and former Mr. Nigeria, and also a media consultant. And of course, he's featured in so many movies. You know those movies, 50, MTV Sugar, Flatmate. He's also created and directed several films and African series, and also he's a writer and an author at the same time. And we also have Tony Adeshola, who's also a resilience personified person who's been so many challenges occasioned by sickle cell, but she is still standing, and she is a social impact coach and also an author. She's a speaker on so many platforms, and more importantly, she's a sickle cell advocate, and she also manages an initiative, a health non-profit organization founded by her. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on board, and also Emmanuel, good to have you on board.
Thank you.
So let's first start. Where have you been, Emmanuel? Has it been like the whole acting scene? It seems you disappeared, but of course, what's been going on? What's been happening?
I know a lot of people always like, where have you been? Where have you been? But because I'm transitioning slowly into the place of production, and being an actor and producing are quite different things, right? I'm writing, trying to get a couple of my projects on. I'm currently in post-production for one of my major films that I intend to release this year as well. But for acting, I've also been doing a couple of projects that will be coming out this year as well. So, because sometimes some of these films, you shoot them and people are like, where have you been? But when they come out, they just see 3 films at the same time. They're like, oh, okay, wow, this guy. They don't understand that you've been working. That's just how it is. But, because I'm transitioning as well, so the roles that I take are a bit not as much as I used to, because I'm also spending a bit of time, writing and making sure that, I get my own project up and running. Yeah.
Speaking of projects, by the way, so this project, you're working on the current project on sickle cell.
Yeah.
So walk us through this project.
Okay, so this was born from a place of ignorance. It's not a thing a lot of people like to admit, but I can admit that I found out a couple of years ago how ignorant I was around the issue of sickle cell. And speaking to a friend of mine who was a sickle cell warrior, it just blew my mind, and I just thought to myself, I was like, it now makes a lot of sense why this is something that we really do not talk about in this part of the world, in Africa, in Nigeria to be specific. Most especially with the amount of cases of children that are born with sickle cell annually in Nigeria, it's alarming, right? And I said, okay, what can I do about it? The best thing I can do is use my media experience and use my creativity to see how I can shed light on this. And I started to partner, find a lot of organizations and see how I can partner with them, to see how we can truly support and shed light to the community or the sickle cell community and help end or reduce the stigmatization of people living with sickle cell, because it's one thing that I don't understand. How do you stigmatize people who are born with something they don't even know how they were born with it, or they don't even know, it doesn't even relate with them, right? But we have to still get to stigmatize them. So yeah.
Okay, let me ask you, Tony, what's it been like, of course, on this project? I know that you are predominantly working on helping other people who have sickle cell, and describe your experience so far. I know it's been a journey, honestly. Words cannot explain, but just in brief, what it's been like.
We started in 2008. And when I started, I live with sickle cell. The challenge with us, I have my own problems. What's my own helping other people? And that's how I was until I got a calling to focus on helping people. I wrote an autobiography called Still Standing, and people were calling me about their experiences with sickle cell. And I was like, wow, this thing is really bad. I'm excited to get into it. The experience has been impactful, it's been joyous, but stressful. It's difficult when you don't have the funds coming in as much as you want, and then people always underestimate the impact of sickle cell being the highest burden in Nigeria, with over 4 million. Yet we don't really talk about it. Like you said, the stigmatization is high, so we don't really talk about it. But we have been trying to do that, to fill that gap by providing them with healthcare. We run a free medical clinic every month to help them with drugs, with doctor's consultation, and then we put them on health insurance, and then pay medical bills, things like that. And the joy when you see people, especially parents, mothers, because they're always the one left behind to look after the children at the end of the day. So you see that joy, and so it removes every challenge that you feel or stress that you feel.
You've been doing this for a while now, and I'm sure that a lot of people have come, for help, and you helped so many people. So how have you been able to reach out to these people? Because if not for maybe traditional media, amongst other things, people might not be aware. So how have you been able to reach out to the people that need this?
Well, funny enough, it's word of mouth.
Okay.
You see, once you're able to give the people what they need,
Okay.
you will find that they spread the news to their community and bring in, because they know each other, especially in low income families. So a lot of it has been word of mouth. Sometimes we come on radio. There was a period we got a grant to run the first ever sickle cell radio program. And we ran that for about 2 years. That's also helped us get some traction. And so we've been able to, the challenge is that it's not that we don't have enough people. The challenge is that we cannot cater for everybody. Because there's so little you can do with the amount of funds you have. So we do have a lot of people. The clinic alone is over 700 people, with about 250 coming every time. So and you can imagine the amount of drugs. We give them all drugs. There's no, and it's not that somebody donated the drugs. We buy the drugs and give it to them. So yeah, it's been a challenge. But
okay, let's ask Emmanuel, what's it been like on this project, working with her and just being part of the activities on a day-to-day basis and the activations?
I mean, it just every second I get involved in this, my heart for this project just keeps on expanding towards the people and towards the community, because I feel like there's so much we can do, right? First, the stigmatization. Second, we need to take this to the mainstream media so that we can help the people who, so that we can let people understand what sickle cell is about, right? In doing that, then people can now begin to see why they should support. First, why they should even understand what people are dealing with, and then why they should support it and all that. Because in coming towards this project, like you said, the funding is a major problem, and people don't fund what they don't understand, right? So with my plan towards this project is just to use the media to push this narrative, and just so that people can begin to understand what sickle cell is about. And in doing that, people can now begin to say, okay, let's help this other organization, who is, who needs this, this help.
Okay. Now you're in the production scene. You're an actor, producer, producing movies. So in the coming years, are we going to see a movie along something like this? Since you're an advocate for this right now, and this is what you're doing.
To answer you directly, yes, actually, and that is actually in the pipeline as well. It's part of the things that I want to use to create awareness for sickle cell.
So what's the timeline for this project? Should I ask you or ask her? What's the timeline?
Okay, I mean, she's doing this.
Yes.
This
so
is
what's the timeline? Especially with your involvement in this.
Oh wow! I would say there's a timeline.
Okay.
Because helping people, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
And there's this myth that people with sickle cell don't live beyond a particular age. I'm 57, and people don't understand what it means to live above a particular age with sickle cell, and so it's to do with how you treat yourself, how you help yourself with your health and knowledge and all that. And that's why, partnering with Emmanuel helps us create that awareness, let people know what is to be done, and people can live well into their 90s, into their...
What are some of the things that because I know a few people who live with sickle cell always need folic acid and they always have pains in their joints. I know a lot about the struggles. What are some of the things they can do to dispel that discomfort they feel on a day-to-day? Because it can really be challenging. 2 months they are unreachable because they're in the hospital. Another 1 month they are off. It's a lot. I know what it's like,
Yes. First of all, before any medical whatever, I always encourage them to deal with their mental state first at that point in time. Learn to know you cannot take control over everything. Learn to let go. Sometimes you're worried, I'm sick, I can't go to work. The truth of the matter, the more you worry, the more you escalate the issue. So just relax, because whether you worry or you don't worry, you're sick. So you need to do, the work is going to still be away. So just take the ride with it. Know what you're supposed to do. Second thing you need to do, go to the hospital. I know healthcare is expensive, but sometimes you can't do it all alone. It's very important. There's some things that might be triggering the crisis that you don't know. Okay. And you just say, okay, no, I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to take folic acid. That it could be infection or an inflammation somewhere that is going to escalate every time. So take your drugs. I know it's annoying, but I always use this analogy. Look at the people with diabetes. They have to inject themselves regularly. Thank God for us, it's not injections, it's not drugs. So just bear with it. It will improve over time. Just take your pace as a time. And really live healthy. What you eat is important. Without sugar and everything. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a plan for the parents? Because you always talk about prevention and all of that. So do you have a plan for parents?
Yes. We actually started, but we've not fully kicked off what we call the Parents Network. Okay. And the whole essence is to empower the parents, both mentally and physically, on how to manage their children, and also how to manage themselves. Sometimes you are so worried about your child, you don't look after yourself. And it's very important that you look after yourself, your mental health. And then most importantly, because they come from low income, a lot of them don't have what it is to. So we empower them, we give them loans. We have a social enterprise project where we help parents, we give you some small loans to start a small business to be able to keep yourself.
Thank you so much. Because of time, thank you so much, Emmanuel. Can't wait to see all the other projects that we'll definitely have you again, because it's been a while we have seen you. It's only when I remember that I watched 50-50 that Emmanuel, Mr. Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We still have one more guest. It's a Friday. You know how we roll on Fridays. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.